Well, I think it's safe to say that it definitely hasn't been the year that a lot of Jets fans quite expected coming off of that President's Trophy last year. The Jets are pretty much abysmal, and especially with the lack of Connor Hellebuyck. Obviously, Hellebuyck being out with this knee injury and having knee surgery and healing right now, and it looked like he's on track. He's getting ready to come back to skate. So Hellebuyck could be a couple weeks away. Come early January, start of the new year kind of thing, which is really good. But him being out, I think, has really opened up a lot of discussion and discourse about goaltending in Winnipeg outside of Hellebuyck, because we've known for so long that Connor Hellebuyck is the backbone of this club. You don't need to be a knowledgeable Winnipeg Jets fan to know that, without Connor Hellebuyck, the Jets really don't have the success they've had the last decade, honestly. They've had some good teams, I'm not taking away from that, but Hellebuyck is without a doubt one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, and he's definitely helped push the Jets to that next level. And with him being out, we've seen the struggles. We've seen Eric Comrie, getting his opportunity pretty much as a starter to shine, and he has not done that whatsoever. And this is coming from a guy that I've never been a big Eric Comrie fan. I think he's great in the locker room. I think he's a great human being, and I think that he has a place on a club, but maybe he's a third string guy, I've always believed. And as well as the fact that you have a rookie, Thomas Milic, getting called up from the Manitoba Moose. This guy, again, do I want to see Thomas Milic? Do I have a lot of faith in him get some opportunity? Yeah, but at the same time, Dom DiVincenzo just got called up as well, because they sent Milic down because they didn't have a lot of faith in him. So again, and I like Dom DiVincenzo. This is a guy that has been pretty, I've liked in the system for a long time. I've liked him in the prospect tournaments. He's looked good. He's had his moments. He's been pretty decent so far with the Moose so far. And again, I like that the Jets are giving the prospects an opportunity with Hellebuyck being out, because they really don't get much looks anyway. Comrie doesn't get many looks with Hellebuyck healthy. So I do like that they're going with these younger guys, but it still brings up the issues that goaltending for the Jets in that backup category without Hellebuyck, it's not good at all. Now, again, the team is not playing great hockey in front of them, and I'm not trying to say that the Jets suck because of Eric Comrie, Thomas Milic, and splitting the load and whatnot. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but they definitely haven't been good either. They haven't been able to bail out the team at times and make those important saves, and they've had some really stinker games. And I think the reason why I want to really talk about this and look at this deeper, even with Hellebuyck coming back, is the fact that Hellebuyck's going to be coming off of a major injury. The Olympics are going to be coming around. He's probably going to be he's not going to. I don't expect to see Hellebuyck play that many games coming in. I still expect to see a lot of the workload being taken by Comrie, and potentially even another young backup, with him coming back from injury. It's going to be a slow thing. There's no way that this organization is going to risk rushing Connor Hellebuyck after an injury like this. There's a reason why they even wanted him to go now and take it before waiting until anything got worse or whatnot. At the same time, that's they made the right call there. I'm not trying to say that, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that Comrie is not the guy that you want having to pick up those extra workloads. Comrie's always been that guy that, a couple games here and there, it's whatever, he can manage it. The team it's a challenge for the team. They have to play tighter defense, and I've liked that. But this year, with the team being looser defensively, not as strong with the forward core, the lack of scoring, the lack of speed and consistent defensive play, and the turnovers especially, we're just leaving these guys out to dry, and that's just going to cause us to lose even more games. So if the Jets, for any reason, are hoping out that they can still try to get into a playoff hunt, make a wild card, maybe surprise and whatnot, they're going to have to seriously look at their goaltending situation, because again, I liked Thomas Milic. I was really excited to see him get his debut, right? And I'm excited to see Dom hopefully get a game as well before Hellebuyck comes back and is fully healthy. But, I'm just going to come out and say it, even though Dom necessarily didn't blow me away and he wasn't anything spectacular, and, he lost all the games that he played in, if I'm not mistaken, I still would rather see Dom and Dominic DiVincenzo and Thomas Milic split a workload than see Eric Comrie get games, because Eric Comrie is he's not the guy for the future. He's not the guy that matters. He's just Connor Hellebuyck's friend. That's all he really is at this point. And he's not a substantial, real difference maker goaltender, and he's not a reliable backup whatsoever. So at least if you give these two young guys a chance, maybe we get to see something. Maybe they have some, maybe they got more to offer than Eric Comrie. But even then, I still don't have that much faith, because you can't just throw goaltenders into the NHL level, especially with a crap defensive team like that on not a good team, and expect them to succeed. Connor Hellebuyck even wasn't that good back in the day. The Jets had to bring Steve Mason in to hopefully, motivate Hellebuyck to play better and earn that starter spot. The Jets didn't even have faith in him going into that 2018, 17-18 season. So, you can't do that with these younger guys. And I like I said, I like Milic. I think that he could be an NHL backup for this club. I think that Dominic DiVincenzo could be a backup for this club in the future as well. But throwing them into the Wolves right now, it's just, as much as I would like to see that for the development, it's just not going to really move the needle anywhere, because their team, they're just going to lose, and the team is not going to play well in front of them, like we've already seen, so far this entire season. And that brings me to this whole point of this video, is that I think that the Jets desperately, when they're looking at fixing this team, along with all the other issues up front, the speed and whatnot, I think the Jets seriously need to look at acquiring a legit backup goaltender. I don't know why we've ever, when we lost Laurent Brossoit and we went back to Comrie, that always felt like such a downgrade, and you want to have a reliable backup. And you never, come playoff time, do you really want to count on Eric Comrie in case, Connor Hellebuyck went down with an injury, God forbid? So, I talked about this earlier last week in a short about Laurent Brossoit potentially coming back to Winnipeg, because, again, I don't think that the Jets should have ever let Brossoit leave in the first place. Obviously, the injury and whatnot kind of worked out well for them in hindsight, but at the same time, this is a guy that won the Jennings with Hellebuyck and had a fantastic year and has been nothing but incredible every year he's been in Winnipeg. So I just don't understand why the Jets keep choosing to have mediocre backup goaltenders after having good ones, and they just let them go, because I know having Hellebuyck is important, but you do not want to rely on an Eric Comrie come playoff time, and we've seen what he can do in the regular season. So I'm hoping that when Chevy looks at this entire team with all the decisions that need to be made on how to improve this club and get them back to a winning record, obviously goaltending isn't at the top of the list, but I definitely think that it's time that we start to really consider having a solid backup goaltender, because if Hellebuyck is getting older, if injuries and conditioning is something that we're going to have to worry about at the later part of his career, then having a backup goaltender that can actually play and be reliable and counted on is important, and Eric Comrie is not that guy, and at this point in their careers, Dominic DiVincenzo and Thomas Milic are not those guys either. So with Hellebuyck hopefully coming back, like I said, by early January, mid-January potentially, right before that Olympic break coming in February, I think that, that's probably, that hopefully that'll push the Jets in the right direction. But like I said earlier, they are going to probably not play Hellebuyck that much. He's going to have, get eased into it. So we're going to see more Comrie than we've seen in years past. And so far, that has not been good, especially with the defense in front of them. So, like I said, I just hope that when the time comes, that management actually looks at acquiring a legit, tandem. Because even though Hellebuyck's Hellebuyck, with the goaltenders getting up in age, you need a capable backup and not just some scrub that is friends of the goaltender. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below if you think that I'm tripping, or if you think this is at the bottom of the list of priorities. I'd just like to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Peace, love, and positivity. As always, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and check out all the other affiliated links down in the description below. And subscribe if you haven't already. Go Jets, go! And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. As they ran, it'll all be